Well, see, your feet are small and top is taking 50%.
Your abs fake. You think you a badder bitch than Sexy Red. You got like 80 different accents because you want a crazy appropriation kill streak. You not black. You take fatherhood advice from Goku. Pusha T smoked you. You not black. It's me versus you and a starting lineup, full bench, and an injury reserve full of ghostwriters. You like little kids way too much. You not black. You sent a cease and desist for like that because your feelings were hurt. Canada's whack. Stop talking like you a gangster and go back to making that hotline bling. The women you mess with don't respect themselves. Your contract got your money cut up so many different ways. It looked like a table of 10 at Applebee's trying to figure out how to pay the bill. My whole catalog is classics, and I only hear your shit when I'm waiting in line at Macy's. And you not black. Black.
I'm sure everyone has seen the song that Kendrick put out, 6.5 minutes long, called Euphoria. And it was a dismantling of Drake. And I think it was more than that. Like, half of the main point within this diss track is questioning Drake's blackness. It's pretty much just putting him on blast entirely, blasting all of the types of things that he does, the cultural appropriation that he does with American culture, specifically with him being Canadian, and him just watching black Americans specifically, and just choosing the biggest or the blackest that he sees, and kind of stealing that culture, because him as a Canadian doesn't really have any culture pretty much, and he never grew up as a kind of black person in that way. Like, he grew up with his mom and his white side. His dad didn't come around until he kind of blew up. So he doesn't even have that foundation to start with, and people in the industry have kind of known this and have talked about this. Like Kendrick said in the song, like, it's not me saying this, it's we saying this. You know what I'm saying? So it's way more than it actually is. And this has shined a light, for a further light. Pusha T did it a little ways back, and Kendrick made a callback to that callback as well. But this has been Drake for a very long time. Even his mannerisms, his personality is just like, it's weird, it's fake. Like, Kendrick liked who Drake was prior to, not the person he is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he even said, like, I liked the singy songwriting Drake and not the fake Drake that we have now. He liked the melodies of Drake. He liked those. And because those feel like the closest thing that we had to who Drake was. And now he's just like weird and it's creepy. Like, I don't know if this is true, but obviously I'm constantly reading and seeing things, and part of the reason why it's called Euphoria is I think Drake's a producer for that show, and it's a bunch of younger people, younger girls and things like that, and Drake has had a thing with younger girls, whether it's like Millie Bobby Brown and a bunch of other people as well. It's just like he has this weird thing that he's always around them and stuff. So Kendrick is just laying all of these things out for us. And the biggest thing, that the forefront of what this song is about, is questioning Drake in who he is as a person, his blackness, and everything in between. But first, I wanted to touch on this Complex tweets that they kind of put out, just kind of breaking down some of the songs. Complex does a great job with this. Complex talked about breaking down the lyrics of his blackness specifically. So I have this one of his blackness, and Drake's relationship with his blackness. That's also huge as well. He is not sure, and he's always questioning it. Like, one of the lines in the song, how many black people do you have to, collab with before you feel like you're black, essentially. The bar, cutthroat business, you got shit twisted, / what is it? The braids? That's talking, and what they say for an explanation is, Kendrick uses twisted as a double entendre to say Drake is stupid for messing with him, while calling him out for wearing braids, similar to the time Pusha T said he couldn't grow an afro because his hair couldn't nap enough. So And it's funny because it's even more than that because he puts his son Adonis in braids as well. So these are things that Drake is just seeing and appropriating and then just putting it on himself or putting it on his kid. Like he's just doing all these things now. And speaking of his kid, you know, the line in there, rap isn't my whole thing. Kendrick saying, rap is not my whole thing. I got a whole life. I got to teach my kid how to pray. I got to teach my kid how to be a man. I got to teach him how to do all these things. I know you don't know anything about that. Like, it's more, K Dot was doing more than just dissing Drake. He was dismantling him and taking him peg by peg with these different things that Drake, like, it's all truths too. One thing about Kendrick, and one thing that I read as a quote is like, you know it's a good diss track if everything that they said in there is true. Not half truths, not like, you know, maybe truths. He doesn't stop there. There's several more. Drake being considered an outsider, you know what I'm saying? So in this line of the bar was, I hate when a rapper talk about guns, then somebody dies, they turn into nuns, then hop online like pray for my city. He faking for likes and digital hugs. Drake also, before I get into the explanation, Drake 1000% feels like a guy like, where's my hug at? Where's my hug at? You know, those kids back in the day. I can't lie. When I was a kid, you know, I was one of those. But that's how I can see it. But the explanation that was given is Kendrick is highlighting how Drake often plays the role of a mob boss in his music. He does, rapping around his hardness and you know what he goes through when he hasn't gone through anything. Bros from like what Mississauga and like what's going on over there. He plays the role of a mob boss in his music and raps about gang activities, but then calls for the gun reform for his city for online sympathy. This could also be directed a direct response to Drake faking for likes when he used the AI Tupac Snoop Dogg in his Instagram diss song while calling him a fake gangster who has never lived any of those things he's rapped about. Like that is clear. Like that's clear that Drake is just rapping what's cool. And speaking of Pac, you know, Kendrick, he got the permission. He'll get permission from Pac's estate, while Drake will just put out an AI song without asking anybody for anyone's permission. So you can just see the way that they move and do their things. I saw so many TikToks of you know just really good people talking about it. There's this one specific TikTok that's so good that really breaks down the process that this is. You know what I'm saying? Like really breaks down what this diss track is all about and kind of what prompted me to make this video.
This is enough to sway everybody to Kendrick's side for now. But the big
Obviously, some of you have seen my immediate reaction to Euphoria by Kendrick, but I've seen a lot of men who have made a career out of commenting on hip hop talk about Euphoria, and I think they are fundamentally missing the most important part of the entire song. One of the biggest parts of the song is that Kendrick is claiming to speak for the entire culture, and he pulls the string of what the culture is looking for and how the culture and Drake are not aligned. The problem with so many people who are commenting about this, because here's what I've seen consistently, is I've seen hip hop fans universally say, God, Kendrick snapped. And then I've seen a lot of white guys with podcasts go, I think this is pretty even. Because there's an element to what Kendrick is calling out in Drake that I think you as a white male hip hop podcaster see in yourself, which is that you aren't actually a part of the culture. Because the culture of hip hop at its core is rooted in a blackness that you can't fully participate in. And so I watched a guy do a review of it, and he never even mentioned the elements of Kendrick revoking Drake's N-word pass, which is one of the most major parts of the entire song, right? Like, or talking about, because if we flash back to what Rick Ross going off on the rants about Drake, and then Drake posting the screenshot of the text to his mom in which he described Rick Ross as being racist, and then black folks being like, that's a really white thing of you to do, Drake. Like, there's so much of that exists, but when you are already a white person trying to profiting off of black culture, you can't actually admit that what Drake is identifying here, he's not only identifying Drake, he's identifying you. So of course they're going to instinctually side with Drake because Drake represents what they are. And also what Kendrick is actually calling out in the song is not necessarily saying that Drake isn't black, but saying that Drake's blackness is only useful when it's profitable. But outside of the profitability of blackness, Drake never actually exhibits or lives in what it means to be black, particularly in America.
Everything he said is spot on in what it's about. These are all so main big points in this song. So that's a lot of things that people aren't talking about, mainstream. Obviously I feel like some people are, but then you can distinctly tell who isn't. And then obviously people just going in. I love the videos that people are just going in.
Them superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. Translation, you're getting too old for this shit, Aubrey. I make music that electrify them. You make music that pacifies them. Translation, you only make club bops. You ain't ever really talking about shit. Stay in your lane, Aubrey. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. Translation, I got permission from that man's estate. And you're a fraud, Aubrey. I hate the way that you sneak diss. If I catch a flight, I'm going direct. Translation, stop saying slick shit and say that shit to my face. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that Megan Thee Stallion said that same shit months ago. Why would I go around trying to find dirt on niggas? Y'all think all my life is rap. I have a son to raise, but I know that you don't know nothing about that. Translation, you're a deadbeat, Aubrey. Ain't 20v1 is 1v20 if I gotta smack niggas that write with you. A call back to these niggas sharing bars like the bottom buck of a two-man cell. Translation, you don't write your raps, Aubrey. We don't want to hear you say nigga no more. Translation, we don't want to hear you say nigga no more, you Canadian bitch.
This was a banger. This killed. This really killed. And you could write a dissertation on how much stuff was in this diss track. And the craziest thing of this whole thing is that Kendrick warned him, don't let me tell truths now. Don't let me start telling truths. So like this was a warning to Drake. Like there is way more if you really want to get into this. And this was 6.5 minutes long. Woo! I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm excited for it.